Hi, friend
Hi, friend
and friends
and friends.
and friends.
Yes.
Tina, what have you been up to? I feel like I haven't seen you in forever.
A true story. We both are so busy with all the things because we are passionate about a lot of things and always going down rabbit holes about all the other things.
Yeah.
Um, I think the biggest thing going on for me right now is, and I mean, you can share your experience, but as soon as I moved to this town, I swear every 10th post on Wadsworth Neighbors was about some cat showing up on somebody's porch. And if the people took it to the vet to have it looked at, it didn't have a chip. And also, a lot of times they were young. And so you're pretty sure they're just feral cats. And moving on to Crestwood, I was pretty fortunate. There's not a big cat issue there. However, there were these two cats that often slept in my backyard, or if it rained, they'd be on my covered front porch. And I would see them going from this neighbor's yard across mine to this neighbor's yard. And they both had feeding stations. So I just felt lucky that I only had two cats on my block. One of them had already been fixed the year before I asked the neighbor. I knew she was a girl because she was a tortie, a tortoiseshell cat. Tortoiseshells and calicos are 99% of the time female. If it
Okay.
is a
And
male, it's
tortoiseshell
usually
are like mostly brown with like a little bit of speckle color, like a little lighter
the
brown.
tortoiseshells. Is that what you
Yeah,
have?
or orange. Like
Yes, it's kind of
I mean
they're
calico,
very,
I know. Calico is like white, orange, brown, like a
yes,
mix.
yes, big blocks of color.
Yes. Yeah.
So
And
tricolor
tortoise.
cats.
Yeah.
The tortoise shells are usually mostly black. Maybe they have a little white and a lot of orange like running through.
Okay.
They are very divisive. I love them. They're my favorites. And a lot of people are like, those are the ugliest cats on the planet.
Oh, I think they're so good. Okay, first of all cats adorable.
Yes,
Like every
all
single
cats are
one.
cute.
Yeah,
I
all cats.
totally
Yeah.
agree.
Yeah.
Well, I could tell this fluffy tortoiseshell was a girl, obviously by her coloring. And I asked the neighbor, and they said, yes, we took when she and this orange cat showed up last year, we took her and we had her altered. Okay.
Okay.
But they had not been able, the yellow cat, the boy cat, was a little more wild and a little harder to trap.
Okay.
I have a plethora of experience in that regard. So I said, you just let me handle this. And within a couple of hours, I had him trapped. Awesome. The neighbors took him to have him fixed. And now they will live happily, on quiet little end of Crestwood, being fed, and they have outdoor housing for the winter, etc. Um, but
Okay. And so this is like, is this what you would call TNR,
yes,
like
yes, yes, yes.
process? Okay.
So TNR, it's exactly what happened there. We trapped, we neutered, and then we returned him to where he came from, our
Mhm.
backyards. Me and my neighbors, we're all cat lovers. So that's a process that really, really works for us. We don't want them to go anywhere. We're happy
Right.
to take care of them. We just don't want
Right.
them having kittens.
Right.
What I have found, and I'm glad that you brought up the TNR initials, people tend not to understand the return part. It becomes a little
Yeah.
bit sticky
Yeah.
because I think they want a group to come in, trap those cats, take them off to be neutered and ear tipped, which is something I
Yeah.
can talk about. They do not want them returned to the neighborhood. And so there's pros and cons. I think your situation, you may have been a person who felt the same way. Like, don't bring
Sure.
them
Okay.
here.
Yeah. So just to hop in, this is that I was one of those people. James and I had a situation where, okay, so we used to live in Lakewood with the two cats. And in Lakewood, we were on a third floor apartment. So they really like never saw other animals, right? Other than maybe some birds in the trees. Then we moved to our own house in Wadsworth, and now they've got, a plethora of windows. They're close to the ground. They, whatever. Sometimes I would have the back door just wide, not wide open. Obviously, there's a screen, but I would have it open and the windows open and da da da. I knew that we had some strays on our street or feral. I don't know how friendly they are. Um, but they had never seemed like a problem, whatever, until I had the back sliding door open once with the screen closed, and I heard cats fighting, what sounded like a cat fight. And I ran into the room, and my cat, Dinah, is trying to fight a stray cat through the screen door. And then I enter the room. My other cat, her brother from the same litter, enters the room, and now she goes after her brother. And now I'm trying to break them up, and I'm getting injured in the middle of a cat fight. And we've had a situation now, right? And so our cats then, with the misdirected aggression, I think is what it's called, we've had to have them separated. We've had several cats approach the house since that. And again, our cats get very upset by this. We have window wells that like go, you can see the windows in the basement and the window wells on the outside of the house in the backyard. And there was a cat who like took shelter when it was really cold or rainy there once, and then the basement cat was upset. And so yeah, we have attempted a lot of things. Like we put up these ultrasonic sound things all around the house to try and blast sound out to scare them away. What that means is it also scares away the raccoons and the squirrels and the birds and everything else.
Yeah.
We've tried little like pellets that you sprinkle around your house, and they smell like kind of citronella, I think, which apparently cats don't like, but you have to reapply that constantly to be effective because it just gets rained off, or whatever.
Sure.
We've tried something like a mothball that is also supposed to repel, and they're sprinkled all around the house. We've put rice paper on the basement windows so you can't see outside. I never open the back door now. Right? Like I've gone through great lengths to solve this stray cat thing because my neighbor does well, she did before she moved. I have a neighbor that fed all the neighborhood cats. She
Yes.
moved and they hung out for a while. They've seemed to dissipated since then. But yes, to your point, James was on the phone, obviously calling all the places to be like, who can come remove these cats? And that's what we learned. They will come and take them to fix them and bring them right back.
Yes. Yes, which I know in your case is like, well, I'm here to tell you.
Mhm.
I know on the surface it seems like a bad thing to bring them back. In your particular situation, especially because now you have two siblings who have to live on different levels most of the time or be supervised.
Yeah.
In general, if there's a couple of things about it. If you remove a cat and then just take it to a barn or take it to a farm or take it to a new neighborhood, which I know that's ridiculous. Nobody would do it here. It does happen in foreign countries. Um, you just make their lives exponentially harder because
Yeah.
they're in unfamiliar territory. They have cats that have already claimed that. So there's going to be more fighting, causing more issues in the new area. They're not going to know where to be fed. They're not going to know where water sources are. So you're just making their lives a lot harder. Also, there's something called a vacuum that happens if you take a colony and you take them away to TNR them and you think you've solved a problem. I'm here to tell you that you don't solve a problem. Feral cats are a thing. I mean,
Mhm.
there's no town that is completely free of the feral cat population. Causing the vacuum invites other cats to come in. Where if you just control the colony that's already there, you already have them spayed and neutered so that they're not having kittens. They become calmer. There's a lot less ruckus. They're not into the garbage as much if somebody's feeding them and caring for them. And it doesn't open up the area for other strays to come in and take over.
Okay.
So it's better to have a controlled colony than to try to whisk them away, create a vacuum, and invite other cats that haven't been vetted. you're just inviting more kittens and more disease to come in. So that's part of the returning.
Yeah.
And some people understand that, and some people are really angry about that part.
Sure.
So a lot of it has to do with education, which is something I'm super, super interested in. I know you love cats. You would be interested in that. I would
Yeah.
love to go to Wadsworth schools and talk to the kids, because we all know that's where the change really starts, when they can understand these things
Yeah.
and share it with their friends and bring it through. But in the meantime, we just need something. We need something
Right.
in this town. That's how I felt. I hear the
Right.
people complaining all the time. One woman in particular, before I even moved up here, we bought our house, and before we actually got here, she was complaining that, oh, last year we just had 2 cats in the empty lot next door, and this year we have a dozen cats in the lot next door. And it's
Sure.
like, ugh,
Because
well,
they weren't fixed.
yes, if we had fixed those two,
Right.
then maybe we wouldn't have a dozen, because
Right.
cats have 2 to 3 litters a year, and the average litter size is 6 cats. So, like, mommy
That
cat
makes
living in the empty lot.
right. The maths.
Yes, when we
Right.
do the math, now she has 18
Right.
kids.
Right.
And then you have them interbreeding, and that's causing diseases and issues. And just this gets out of hand super quickly. So,
So, and I think as like a homeowner, right? I was like, well, what does that entail? Because he's making all these phone calls and he's like, well, we have to get a trap and we have to do this and that. And I'm like, this is now getting involved and I don't know anything about that kind of stuff. So like what do we do as a homeowner? And also like, so whose responsibility is it? And who is there to help? And like, what do we do?
yes, I am so glad that you're asking that question, because that's what I thought. I moved here, and like I said, I have a background in this just by location, having lived in Turkey. And I know I told you on a previous episode, it's 20 million people. It's a huge city, and culturally they don't believe in sterilizing.
Mm,
Um, so they also don't have a robust shelter system.
okay.
So it is culturally acceptable to just be out tripping over cats and dogs at all times. It was really hard for me as a Westerner, and
Yeah.
not exclusively, but by and large, most of the people who helped me there were expats also from Europe or the US or Canada, because none of us are used to these issues. We have a lot
Right.
of people who get involved on a grassroots level. It was it gave me pause, because I didn't know the answer to these questions either. I'm like, who,
Right.
if you don't have the extra time or the extra resources or the experience to TNR,
Right.
what are you doing? So I started poking around, going down the proverbial rabbit hole, right? Like, what is going on in the city
Right.
and how can we
Right.
help?
Right.
So I found out that Medina County has a 501c3 they are associated with.
So that's
Um,
like a nonprofit.
so it's a nonprofit. It's called Medina Meow Fix.
Okay.
Um, and they have the honor, I guess, of being the first 501 in the state who's had a relationship with a municipality. And what I
Okay.
mean by that is, in Ohio, animal issues are historically handled at a county level. So,
Okay.
like, I grew up in Richland County, Ohio. So we have a Richland County dog pound.
Sure.
We don't have anything in a level below that to help like your average
Got
homeowner.
it. Okay.
So I am so happy that Medina County already has, Medina City has a relationship with Medina Meow Fix. So I thought, well, why can't Wadsworth have that same thing?
Right.
That
Right.
would be super
Right.
helpful to have
Right.
somebody who's already done some basic work, well-oiled machine with record keeping and fundraising and things like that.
Hmm.
So you and I go to council meetings uh twice a month.
Yes.
So the nice thing
Try
about
to when our schedules allow. Yeah.
when our schedules allow, and it sometimes it's 50 minutes of kind of boring, dry
Dry.
information
Yeah.
to get 10 minutes of interesting stuff or
Right.
whatever. But it allows us to make relationships, right?
Hmm.
And to feel closer to our city and the way it operates. And it's super
I like to
educational.
know what's going on a little bit, you know.
Yeah, of
Yeah.
course.
Yeah.
That's what we do. We're curious.
Right.
So the good thing about that is we show up at a meeting. I asked the mayor, who is standing there with her staff, who's in charge of TNR around here? Like, what does
Who's in
that look?
charge of the cats?
Yes. What is going on with the cats in this town? Who do I talk to about that? And
Yeah.
she looks over at the safety director. So she looks at Matt. He's the man you would talk to. And it's really nice. He's a super responsive. He has tons of responsibility between the police and the fire and the EMS.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I understand cats are a low priority.
Sure.
Um, from his view up here, he has a lot on his plate. And so I just asked, let me liaison, let me facilitate, let me connect some dots. Let's
Sure.
get together with Medina Meowfix and see if what's in our budget as a city can marry with the services that she and her organization can provide. And so
Yeah.
we're kind of in the middle of that right now.
Love
Um,
that.
so that's what I'm in the middle of trying to,
So, yeah. And would that look like when that all is in place? What does that mean for someone who is struggling with a cat, you know, I don't want to call it an issue because they're so cute, but they're kind of an issue sometimes.
yes, yeah. Well, the encouraging thing to me is I've joined a lot of animal pages out on Facebook, out on social media, and I know that there are some really caring people in town who have been on their own time, on their own dime, managing colonies on College Street,
Mm,
on Wolf, just different pockets of the town. And what will happen essentially is I will start a Facebook page. Um, I'm assuming it's going to be called Wadsworth Meowfix as a conduit. I just want it to be a way to funnel. People can come to that Wadsworth page.
sure.
They can self-educate on there. They can then message up to Medina Meowfix and talk to Carrie and learn the procedure. Injured and sick cats are a priority.
Hmm.
They can be trapped. They can be taken to the SPCA and they gladly care for them and get them
Hmm.
healthy.
Hmm.
Um, if they're a friendly feral cat or stray cat in your neighborhood, the SPCA gladly takes them in and finds homes for them.
Cool.
The middle ground.
Or like we could maybe look around open
Yeah,
that up for Wadsworth and see if people would like to adopt
yeah,
out.
we
Yeah.
can absolutely be helpful with that. I'm still fleshing out the whole
Sure. Yeah, yeah.
enormity of putting together something really comprehensive. I want
Yeah.
it to be, I want people to feel self-empowered and also know where to go for resources.
Sure.
So the middle ground of that, I was going to say the SPCA is not in charge of TNR. And that's where we really need to have that relationship with Medina Meowfix.
Yeah.
There's no reason to reinvent the wheel. They
Right.
already have a relationship in the county. They already have relationships with other cities.
Right.
We get that together and see where it goes from there. And I'm here with my background as just I had a trap neuter return by necessity. I moved to Turkey and I had 30 cats living outside my apartment building.
Mm,
Self-taught from Alley Cat Allies offline. I mean,
okay.
online, I just went
Yeah.
there, read everything I could possibly. I had to order traps from the US to be sent to Istanbul. But if I can do it and everybody else can do it, and everybody here has the advantage, I can hold your hand.
Sure. Oh, yeah. So
I'm
maybe there's like, what if I mean, I don't know if this is what the idea is, but then to have like trained kind of volunteers around Wadsworth who then like, what do you take them to Medina County?
Ease. This is going to be a super, super important part of the
Like it's
process.
going to take a village, I'm sure.
It's going to take a village, and everybody kind of naturally finds their lane. There are going to be
Okay.
people who can keep a couple extra traps in their
Yeah.
garage to loan out when somebody in their neighborhood needs it. There are going
Mhm.
to be people who maybe have some experience trapping cats and can educate a neighbor. There are people who can transport.
I can transport.
Yes, I love that about you, because that's not something I'm interested in
Sure.
doing.
And like if someone like I mean if you were to have time in the middle of your day to trap a cat, but you're like, okay, but I don't have time to now also drive the cat to wherever, I can like meet you wherever and be like, I can drive the cat.
Exactly. This is
Right.
like, it's like the perfect recipe of finding
Yeah.
people, finding their comfort zone, finding
Yeah.
what they have time for, educating them on what that role looks like, and just keeping kind of a list of the helpers, right?
Cool. Yeah. So Tina, how can people find us? And how do they let you know that they're interested in helping with, bridging the gap of Medina Meowfix and Wadsworth?
So, do you think the best way is to have them email us here?
Yeah, we could. I mean,
They can email us here. Like, I am hesitant. I have not put the Facebook page up for Wadsworth Meowfix
okay,
because I want to see it go through the whole process
process.
on
Right.
the city level.
Yeah.
Um, that's not a done deal. The contract isn't signed. The contract is with legal right now. Once it
Yeah.
makes its way through committee, makes its way through city council. But I mean, that's a good thing. If people are watching this and they
Yeah.
have an issue in their part of town, or they're an animal lover, or they would like to be supportive or lend their support, please call city council and tell them that this is something you're happy to have in the city.
Yeah.
It's a tiny, tiny sliver of the budget, trust me. But it can make a huge impact. And really all it takes is a few citizens who are willing to just put in the time.
Cool.
So I
Yeah.
think city council, I think that about everything though. If you have
I agree.
questions, Wadsworth Neighbors is not the place to get them answered. Go to the city, ask the questions.
Yes.
Everyone there has been so kind to us
Oh
as
my
far as.
gosh, so kind. The administration, I mean, council too, but like administration has been nothing but helpful. They are very responsive to emails, questions when we're there, like all the things. And they're so kind and they never make me feel stupid for asking a question.
I can't even believe it. Whenever the mayor responds to an email, it's not perfunctory. It's not like a
Right,
short answer. It is
right.
3 paragraphs of such concern and kindness. And even I have administration people calling me on the weekend to have 20-minute wholesome
Yeah,
conversations about my concerns. And so that's part of the change I want to see, where it's not us and them.
yeah. No,
They're trying to
exactly.
do the work for us, and
Right.
being supportive. I think part of being supportive is reaching out to them. I mean,
Yeah.
that's like a
Oh
positive
yeah.
action.
Listen, I'm all about like I know we're close to time here, but I'm all about like positive reinforcement. And so when someone's doing something that I like, I'm always going to try to like make sure I'm positively reinforcing because I want to see more of that, right? And so yeah,
Exactly.
tell them that they're doing a good job or whatever. But I think so council, I think if they wanted to reach out to Carrie at Medina Meowfix too, like
Sure.
maybe, or if they want to reach out to us at friendspeakingfreely@gmail.com,
Yes.
then lots of avenues. And then eventually it sounds like you'll get a Facebook page going and that'll be a good kind of hub for everyone to kind of get to you at. It sounds like. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't want to make this episode too prematurely, but I'm so confident that we can work out any concerns that come up and make this happen. So I want to, like, I'm excited and I want to blast it out there that there are solutions and they're in the
Yeah.
works. And
It's totally possible, but by the time this comes out, that it is already in the works, or like
yeah,
already like official or whatever. It's
yes,
in the works now, but like official.
fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah, get a hold of us.
Yay! All right. Well, thank you so much for talking to us about that deep dive that you went down. I mean, I feel like you've had years and years of experience, and obviously our experience and issue was very recent, and yeah, we just are always learning new things. So thank you for helping us learn that, and now we know why we can't not return cats if we go get them neutered.
Totally true. Okay.
Cool.
Well, all right.
All right.
We'll see you next episode. Bye, friend.
Bye, friend.
You are watching WCTV, Wadsworth Community Television.